El día de hoy tenemos el honor de presentarles a John Castillo, un destacado fotógrafo, una persona que ha trabajado con marcas como Ralph Lauren y Marc Jacobs y aparte ha capturado momentos como los Latin GRAMMYs. Él tiene una carrera excelente, es conocido por su integridad, es una persona súper fenomenal y hoy tengo el honor de tenerte aquí en el podcast. John, bienvenido, un placer tenerte acá.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're happy that you're here with us, brother. And we would like to, in our conversation, we would like our audience, our family to get to know you better, to know your story, to know what is your motto, what are your values, and what you believe has helped you accomplish what you've been able to accomplish thus far in your career.
For sure. Again, thank you for having me. I love seeing the podcast, the branding, how it looks. You guys, it's been a pleasure. And once again, thank you for having me.
Of course, and welcome. We're so happy to have you here. And as Paul was saying, like, we want to get to know you because we know, like, you've done great things, and I'm sure we're gonna talk about it. But we want to know, who is John Castillo? Like, where does this passion came from? Photography, creativity, art. How did this happen?
Yeah, I mean, most likely, I'm an immigrant. I'm from Colombia in Peru. I came here when I was 6 years old. Started studying graphic design, arts, photography, and filmmaking. And within that realm, I just started my journey as a creative, and I felt like exploded thanks to my family and thanks to God.
Was it something that you always thought that you were gonna do? When you were growing up, you thought you were gonna do something different, or
I always knew I was gonna be in the advertising world.
Mhm.
I didn't know it was gonna be as a graphic designer, photography, filmmaker, but I always knew I was gonna be in the publishing and like entertainment industry.
okay.
How do you know? What was it that called you to it?
I think seeing the reaction of people's faces when I show them how they look in front of a camera,
Mm.
whether it's video, photo, or even a graphic. I love how the face changes when I show them a photo or a video.
It's usually like they're impressed, like, wow, I didn't know I looked that good.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
It's like you boost their self-esteem.
Yeah, for sure, you do.
Honestly, I'm always thinking about myself. Every
Mm.
time I shoot, I always thinking about how it would look like if I'm the one in front of the camera. And I think that's been working, so it's been great.
It's art something that was present in your childhood or your family growing up?
Um, I mean, I started drawing when I was small, and that led me into going to our art school in New York City in Manhattan, and I think from there everything just got better.
So let's kind of go back a little bit, right? You mentioned you are Colombian and Peruvian. Shout out to any Colombians and Peruvians watching. And you came to the States when you were about 6 years old,
Hmm.
right? What are like what city did you come to? What are your recollections or memories from that transition?
Yeah, so moving to New York was easy just because the language barrier was there. I actually moved to Queens, which there's a lot of Colombians and other different Spanish-speaking cultures there. So
Growing up in Queens, right? You have like you have an attraction towards advertising, marketing, right? At what point do you pick up a camera?
funny enough, I wasn't gonna share this, but I actually ended up falling in love with nightclubs.
Okay.
So I was 18. I really wanted to get into the nightclubs. I didn't know how. I was already studying graphic design. I already had a camera, so I was like, I'm just gonna pick up a camera and work in nightclubs. Next thing you know, I ended up building a strong career as a nightclub photographer in New York City
Oh, wow.
for 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
I'm working in the high end, like the highest end clubs all over the place. That led me to running myself low when it comes down to my spiritual walk, because I saw a lot of drugs, alcohol, you name it.
Hmm.
That led me to a really bad place, which led me to going to church and finding God.
Mm.
So, John, did you grow up in a household where like faith was important, or
No,
no, not really?
no.
But during this time when you were in the nightclub scene and seeing all those things, you felt a void and a need for something. How to God, the message of the Bible, or church? What came first? Take me to that moment.
I think gassing was all over.
Mm.
I met a friend in college, which he used to love everything that I was doing in the nightclubs. When it comes down to the way I was shooting, the ways the images I would look, the videos that I was making, but overall, he will always come to the nightclubs with me, drop me off, and always plant the seed.
Mm.
He always used to tell me, "Hey, man, you really need to give this up. I feel like God has your hand upon your life, and um, He really wants to get a hold of your life."
Mm.
So that always used to nudge me. One day he took me to his church. Felt God's presence, and everything changed.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that. Uh w- we were stalking you.
Good, good, good.
For sure. Yes.
Went all the way back to your very first Instagram post. April 15, 2013, and it's I think your baptism.
Mhm.
S-
Was it the first photo that you posted, or like you had photos before?
I had photos before of how my life was without Christ,
Mm.
Mm.
and I'm not here to say I was perfect, but I just wanted to start new, and I
Mm.
felt like the thought of me getting baptized was kind of like putting
Like a
a
fresh start.
fresh start in
Yeah.
my life for sure.
Will you say that faith, your the at that point your newfound faith in Christ has had to do with the success that you've been able to achieve thus far?
Overall, yes, for sure. It led me to a really healthy place, and overall, it just transformed my life.
How?
The way that I live, the blessings that I've been going through, seeing how God has moved in my life, and overall where I'm at today, which is married to a beautiful wife and attending church.
So, by the way, 2013. About how old were you, like during your time of baptism
I think
conversion?
I was maybe 22.
22 years old.
Yeah, 22, 23.
And so you started this walk with God.
Mm-hmm.
Are you at this moment in school, or you
I finished college, and I also gave up nightclub photography.
during this time, are you making a living out of photography, or is this something, or are you making a living in a different way? Well,
Yes, I was making a living out of photography, but nightclub photography. So I was going through a huge change of figuring it out. How can I make money out of photography and filmmaking?
yeah.
So obviously, I gave up photography in the nightclubs, and I started doing working with regular brands and actually shooting weddings as well.
Wow, was that difficult?
No,
No.
I think it was difficult to leave the lifestyle,
Mm.
Mm.
but it felt rewarding.
So once you um make that transition, right? Which okay, let's look at it from a business
For
perspective,
sure.
right? So you did it for personal reasons. But from a business perspective, that anyone who looked at that would say, "Hey, you're crazy. You already have a clientele, you have a name, you have a fame, and now you're gonna decide to just go find a new client base,
Right.
Yeah.
right?" Do you have anybody in your life tell you that when you were doing that?
No, but it was obvious to everyone,
Mm.
Mm.
and definitely took a toll. But obviously, God's hand was on my
Yeah.
life, and I started seeing random opportunities happen for me to leave the lifestyle.
So he made provision.
for sure.
So in this new path, um, how do you get to that point later? When you're making brand deals, or you're working or collaborating with brands like Ralph Lauren or Chanel. Like how does that happen?
I think overall, Hillsong NYC had a huge impact in me, just because they had a global brand which actually put a lot of knowledge into my work with Christ and my work as a content creator and creative director. Working with a brand that is global actually gave me a lot of insights as far as like how to network, how to promote myself, how to market myself in the entertainment and in the fashion industry.
So you picked up these skills at church,
Yes,
not at school, at church.
yes.
What are some of the things that you learned that have helped you along the way?
Overall, I think they have a really strong art direction when it comes down to how they market themselves.
Mm.
Hillsong is a global brand that goes from Australia and multiple countries that you name it. And I think the fact of how they run their business it helped me to bring that into my own business.
Mm.
Sure.
John, did you ever think about giving up? Like, I'm thinking you started your journey as a photographer, and as you mentioned, like you were already making a living out of it. It wasn't like you were having your full-time job and you were doing this part-time. Do you ever feel like I can't, this is a lot?
God continued to provide,
Mm.
which was pretty insane. The time, all the times that I tried to just leave the call or leave the career, God will always put these little nuggets or these little opportunities in my life that He just made it more clear to me. But yeah.
Testify, brother. Tell me a story.
Um,
One that comes to mind.
One of the biggest ones was working with Scarlett Johansson. When the old creative director from Ralph Lauren got in contact with me to shoot one of the brands that he was working with, which is David Yerman, and we ended up doing a huge campaign with her. Funny enough, when they got in contact with me to shoot the project, I didn't know who she was. Next thing I know, I'm looking on Google. She's one of the Avengers. So I'm like, this is pretty insane.
I think sometimes it's us that kind of push God's hand away, and it's us who sometimes want to do our own will versus follow His, which is full of blessings for us, right? In addition to God's hand being there, did these people reach out to you because they heard of you, because of other work you did that they saw, or was it a result of the way that you were marketing yourself? Were you reaching out, submitting requests? Can you tell us a little bit about that, just so that we understand the business aspect of your industry in that regard?
For sure. So everything started with a coworker back in the day. He used to work for Ralph Lauren, and next thing you know, they're looking for somebody to shoot one of their main shows in New York City. They only needed somebody to shoot the influencers at their entrance, and I ended up being available. Came to the project, crushed it. Next thing you know, for the following campaign, I noticed they have my images on their mood boards,
Wow.
which was insane just because it was a global brand, and for them to use my images for their mood boards was a huge thing for me.
Right.
The following year, they got in contact with me again to actually work with Ralph Lauren for the premiere at the Met Museum.
Mm.
Again, I came into the project, crushed it, and that's how everything just started. I think it's just a process of just being consistent, prepare, and always ready.
How do you prep before those, like, going to those events and doing your thing? You know what I mean? Like, do you have a regular day and it just went there, or was it like a moment of preparation that you took to get yourself in the right mindset?
I think it was the way I get ready is to actually do my homework on who actually is on their team. When
Okay.
it comes down to PR agents, when it comes down to creative direction, agencies, just getting to know who's there and actually being personable with them. I
Mm.
feel like that leaves a long lasting image, and I think that actually helped me a lot. So just getting to know the team and coming in prepared on who's who.
So, right. How much, because it's all about relationships, right?
100%.
Wow. So you are from a strategic perspective in your industry, when you're preparing for this event, you're actually preparing, doing your homework and the people you're going to be working with, because you're going to forge relationship with these people, which will open new opportunities in the future.
Hmm.
That's so interesting. Let's talk about that for a moment. Let's talk about how important in business, well, in life, but in this case, business relationships are.
Yeah, I think it comes down to branding and being authentic in your branding. I feel like branding and marketing go along together. And when you're running a marketing campaign or marketing project, being authentic is the one thing that actually validates the product or whatever thing you're trying to market. Every time I see a funnel that they're trying to just make money out of me, obviously I try to avoid. But when I see somebody's authentic on the value they're gonna put in my life,
Mm.
automatically can connect.
Mm. What are some of the most fun projects you've done?
Fun projects. I would say probably working with Marc Jacobs last year.
Yeah.
Uh, it was something that happened the same day. I actually was working out in Jersey. The same day, one of the directors called me and asked me to actually shoot the show, and he told me if I can make it to the show in the next two
Wow.
hours. I ended up taking a cab to New York City. I don't know how I got there on time, but we ended up doing this project, and it came out really cool.
In the spur of the moment.
Yes.
All right.
Wow,
So,
that's crazy.
like, I don't think I can. I think some people would have said, I need to shower. I'll be there late. What made you decide, yes, I'll be there and making it happen? I don't care if I don't take a shower.
I think it's just the spirit of just growing up in New York City,
Mm.
always grinding, always working, coming from the background of an immigrant family. I'm willing to work, and the fact that it's one of the brands that I always wanted to work with, it was a yes.
It was like it was like it would be crazy if it would be like
It was
no.
no, but you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I've known people that it's like, they're like, oh, I want an opportunity. I wish I could. And then when it presents, it's like, oh no, you know why? Because sometimes we want things to happen a certain way,
Right.
right? And God wants to bless us His way, but we want to we planned it in our mind. As I say, you thought one day I'll work with that brand and they'll reach out to me and I'll take them through my process and we'll sign an agreement, bro. Because you didn't even sign anything, right? You just went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said I just showed up, and it happened to happen.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Jenna, you were talking about consistency and discipline, and I think that's fundamental. Like you've been almost for 2 decades already, or almost 2 decades in the business.
2 decades.
Exactly. So that's a long time. And how long did it take you, like from doing weddings, small projects, to like actually start working with these big brands and big events?
Um, I think it took me about 10 years.
Wow. And in the meantime, in that time, what was a project that make you think like, okay, this could be bigger? Okay, I thought I was just doing weddings. I thought I was just doing small projects, and then I'm doing this, and this is huge.
Probably the Ralph Lauren first show we did together. Even though I wasn't in the show inside, I actually was outside the show shooting the influencers, and that's when they picked up the images, and that's how I was able to build a relationship with them.
Hmm.
Wow.
We Do you attribute your success based on what I'm hearing you say, God, hard work ethic? right? Uh, Talent, of course, and um, kind of being an action taker, being willing to move. Is there anything else that you would attribute that the success that you've achieved thus far?
I think just always being ready when it comes down to any projects, when it comes down to your equipment, when it comes down to all those little details. I feel like God tests, put tests in your life just for you to get ready, and He comes with opportunities. You just gotta be ready.
You know what? When you say that, I remember um I remember an illustration, and I don't know, it might have been even Pastor Anthony that shared, I don't know, but it was something that there were two farmers praying for rain, right? And after praying for rain, one went to sleep, and the other went to prepare the ground so he could sow his seed and receive the rain.
Mm.
The one that really prayed with faith was the one that took action to prepare for his prayer to be answered.
Right.
And sometimes we're like, God, please give me this opportunity. Blah, if I could do this, if I could do that. But we're not ready, right? Meaning, not that we're not ready. It's like for example, right? Like, Lord, if I could meet that person, I'll have that job. I could meet that person, and then the opportunity comes. It's like, oh, I don't know what to wear. I don't have the suit. Oh, what am I gonna say? I don't have my resume ready. Right? You know what I mean?
For sure.
But if you truly were, you know, asking with faith and really going out to get it, man, I'll have that suit hanging, right? I'll have that resume ready. I'll know exactly the words that I would say because whenever that opportunity arises, I'm ready to go. And that's kind of what you've been doing. And I could see how that is like a secret sauce for success. I could see that. I think there's a lesson for all of us there. From a business perspective in your industry, what do you find are the most, like, I don't know, maybe either difficult or boring parts?
I think the business part of it,
Okay.
even though it could be boring, even though it could be hard to do, I think it should be a 50-50 when it comes down to being a creative.
Hmm.
I don't believe you should be a creative 100%. I
Mm.
feel like having a business plan and having a business mindset should be the half of, kind of like, it should be part of your plan as well.
Hmm.
I love that somebody mentioned that um, you only become genius when you actually bring your talents into play, when you have a business plan into play.
Hmm.
So it's either you want to be remembered as a creative or as a genius.
Right.
You can be both when you put your business plan into play in your creativity.
Have you sought mentors for the business aspect of things?
I think overall, yes, over
Yeah.
the years, not somebody directly, but seeing people's lives have taught me a lot when it comes down to business and being creative.
Um, John, if you were in front of in a room with young creatives, um, and young, I mean
Probably your
people.
age when you started.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
like you actually, if you had a room full of Johns at the age when you started, okay, what would you say to them?
Career wise, will be to not be afraid
Hmm.
and just do it. Spiritually, it will be to follow God and have a relationship with Him.
Hmm. What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned in life?
Biggest one has been consistency in every aspect of life. When it comes down to work, when it comes down to my spiritual walk, when it comes down to relationships, I feel like that's something that has been healthy and has been a power core in my life.
What is something, could be in addition to photography, that you're really passionate about?
I will say filmmaking and producing projects.
How much different do you find photography from filmmaking?
Uh, think it's pretty similar. I think it all comes down to storytelling. And then storytelling comes down to um, just preparing a campaign for any type of brand. I feel like every brand needs a storytelling, marketing campaign to showcase who they are.
How do you accomplish that?
Usually we have calls with them. I'm actually running an agency team that takes care of that, and I take care of the creative. But they do a phenomenal job when it comes down to finding out what they are, who they need, and what they want to portray as far as a brand or partnership.
Now that you've that you have a career with uh milestones, do you still work in small projects? Do you or
Yeah, usually now we're creating a boutique agency, which we tailor towards smaller brands and also bigger brands, but we try to maintain a level of excellence when it comes down to the number of projects we take yearly.
so I know you currently have two businesses,
Mhm.
two agencies. Can you tell us about them?
Yeah, so one of them is a creative agency that offers photography, filmmaking, and overall, it just feeds into the branding part of any brand. And the other business is my wedding photography and filmmaking business, which I love, just because I have a huge passion towards weddings, and
Mm.
I felt like my photojournalism I plays into play into any type of wedding that comes on into play.
And so you have both of them running simultaneously, both of them active. You collaborate with different people in these different projects. Um, and so your time is filled running these two businesses, serving at your church.
Yes.
And what else do you do with your time, John?
I would say working out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a huge anchor in my life when it comes down to just doing life. I think just being healthy is going to propel you to have a strong business and a stronger career.
Mm.
Do you always have that as part of your discipline to work out, or is that something you picked up?
I think that's something I picked up
Hmm.
from seeing mentors, from seeing other people and their high-end capacity of running bigger businesses. They always put in that as a priority, health, working out, and I think it just helped you overall.
Being physically fit.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that perhaps you see in your industry that you want to stay away from?
I will say not being authentic. I think now on Instagram, people are portraying a different image of themselves. If you're running a business, I feel like you should be authentic to who you are, and that automatically is going to propel your business to sell more and be much successful.
Mm. John, I have a kind of request for you. Okay. Um, when when you look at this podcast, right? From your creative perspective, right? Uh, what are some of the things that perhaps you would like to see or you would like to see happen?
Well, first of all, I want to give you the flowers of having an outstanding podcast. I love the branding. I love the quality. I feel like that's something that brands should do more often.
Thank you.
And not only that, I feel like you have been consistent for the last years on trying to make this happen. And now you have a product that is incredible and outstanding.
Thank
And yeah, as far as something I would like to see is probably more guests for
you.
sure.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Nice. I appreciate that. Well, I'm looking for recommendations.
for sure.
All this hype.
You got
John,
you got the connects, you know?
yeah.
For sure.
John, something interesting that we're doing in this season is that we're trying like to focus on the passion. And your passion was always like art. Photography at some point it started to being. So what would you say to that people that are like, okay, my passion is X and I would like to make a living out of it, but I don't know how. It doesn't matter what industry, but simply the thing that is your passion. You could make your passion your business. You could live out of your passion. What would you say to them if they're maybe scared? Of course, they have doubts of it. And what advice would you give to them?
I think number one will be to do it afraid. Invest in yourself if you actually want to see your business thrive.
Yes. I believe so many people fail at that because they leap. Can they take that leap too early, perhaps? And they're like, I'm gonna make a living out of this, but there's no real plan. And so the little money that you're making, you're using to cover your living expenses.
Sure.
And then you can't reinvest in the business.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Do you find yourself reinvesting in your business, your equipment, your...
Yeah, I mean, all the time we are investing in equipment, spaces, and I would say maybe 70% on marketing as well. So I think that's the engine of producing a great brand and company.
When you say marketing, do you mean like running ads or?
Yeah, running ads, Google search, Facebook ads. For like just exposing yourself with the right funnel and the right website is key for any type of brand or company.
Is that something that you have people assist you with? Is that something that you handle yourself?
Yeah, I have a web designer. I also have another marketing colleague of mine that he helps me with Google ads, Facebook ads, and Instagram ads. Again, I think it comes down to the final and being authentic.
Yes.
For your clients.
Yeah. You know, sorry, love, I know you were gonna say something.
No.
Oh, it's just something that it's been kind of topic of conversation is that a lot of people, because this is the content that gets pushed out, is about they feel that they must depend on the organic growth, right? And so at that point, it's like you are a victim to not a victim, but you kind of depend on the algorithm. And people sometimes don't consider the fact that you can put money, invest money in your marketing and running ads to get more eyeballs, to get more exposure. And if you have an authentic, good quality service or product, it will be well received as long as you're targeting correctly, right? And there is no need, because if you notice, like it's like, this is how you get X amount of views, X amount of, and all these tricks. I'm like, man, and like, people pay courses so they learn how to grow organically.
It's insane.
It's cheaper to just, I think in the long run, it's cheaper to just go and run ads,
sure.
right? Am I right?
Yeah.
John, we're kind of coming to a close of our time together. What are some final thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience?
I think, again, going back to building your personal brand to propel your business forward is just be yourself. Be yourself, put it out there, invest money on ads, on showing people what do you do, what can you do for other people, and it will work.
Nice. Talk about personal brand, man. That hat.
Right?
When do you start wearing that hat?
Actually, in the first fashion week that I have ever shot, it helped me as far as my own personal brand to stand out to other people, and it worked.
No, 100%, bro. Like I know it's you. Even if you're looking in a different direction, I see a picture of your back because of the hat.
Yeah.
And I think you got married with that hat, didn't you?
I did for sure.
See, that has been
Talking
very
about being
such
committed to the brand.
For sure. Yeah.
That's awesome. Brother, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, John, for being
family,
here.
into the next one.
Hola, soy Patti Bolanos, fundadora de IGO, Immigration Global Online. Mi misión es ayudarte a ti y a tu familia a alcanzar el sueño americano. Sé lo difícil que puede ser enfrentarse a los retos de la Corte de Inmigración y el miedo a una deportación, pero no estás solo. He ayudado a madres, familias y jóvenes a obtener su permiso de empleo, su social, su residencia y comenzar una nueva vida aquí. No esperes más, contáctame por WhatsApp al 908-764-8725 y da ese primer paso hacia tu sueño americano. Estoy aquí para ayudarte.
Gracias por escuchar esta conversación. Queremos seguir conectados contigo. Así que te invitamos a que te unas a nuestra comunidad en Instagram. Encuéntranos como @New Jersey Business Podcast.